Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new episode of Riffs and Wrestling, where we talk all things hard rock, heavy metal, and of course, professional wrestling. And today I am joined by my co-host, Willie. Willie, what's up, brother?
What's going on, man? How you doing today?
Hanging and banging, brother. And I am, of course, your other host, Nick. And today's episode is going to be a good one. We're going to get into a couple debut albums from a couple of legendary symphonic black metal bands. But before we get into that, we do the whole spiel into both bands. Just want to say, find us on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, X, everywhere. Please do us a favor. Like, comment, share, subscribe. It's all free. It helps the show out a lot, and we do appreciate you when you guys do that. If you happen to catch any of these clips on the Shorts channel on YouTube, please listen to the full episode right here on YouTube or Spotify, wherever you get your podcast and video platform, and we do much appreciate all that. So, Willie, today, before we get into the crux of the episode, which is the debut albums of both DIMMU BORGIR and CRADLE of FILTH, we want to touch on a couple of things that are happening recently in the world of heavy metal. And the first thing that we need to get into, that we should have got into a while back ago, that is Watain, the legendary Swedish black metal band, is calling it quits after their next album comes out, which is only going to be their 8th studio album, if you can believe that.
Damn.
But Watain shocking all of us in the metal community by announcing that this will be their last album, brother. What do you make of that?
Fucking sad, man. Watain is actually one of my favorite black metal bands, and got the honor and privilege to see them once, and that one time was indeed fucking amazing. But you know, they just like, it kind of sad because all these fucking bands that we've grown up with and explored and fucking love, and but they're all getting older, and it seems like every year someone else decides to call quits. But I get it. I don't like it, but I get it.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to the wife about that a couple days ago, about how all my childhood heroes, whether it was in wrestling or music, have all either passed on or is calling it quits and, riding off in the sunset, dude. And it just goes to show you just how old, you're getting as yourself when these guys that you grew up listening to or watching on television, whatever the case may be, are retiring or passing on to whatever afterlife there is, dude. And it's just like, God damn, bro. It's like, not only are you sad that, there'd be no more memories from those bands or those wrestlers or whoever, but it also makes you reflect like, holy shit, dude, I'm getting fucking old too,
Yeah, man, it's kind of scary, man. It's like, who's next? That's what I'm thinking about now. It's like we had Megadeth, now Watain. Like, who is it? Fucking Priest? Or they have to be next.
I need
too,
to
right?
see Priest, dude. I have yet to see Priest. I need to see them before they call it quits, dude. But touching on Watain though, dude, 30th anniversary coming up. 30 fucking years, and they only put out 8 records.
That's it.
That math
man.
don't add up to me, dude.
That's it. Kind of probably shows you how much of a touring band they were, man. They played every fucking festival. They played everything they can get their hands on. That's probably why they're so busy between each album. But, each album were fucking great. And I love bands that do that because it kind of shows that you don't need to put out albums every year when you have a fucking album that you can just continue to fucking play.
Yep. I agree, man. But yeah, that Watain show that you were talking about earlier, we were together at that show, and that was with Destroyer 666. Yeah,
It was.
Yeah, in Arizona. That was a phenomenal fucking show,
Yeah,
dude. And what a great fucking venue that was, dude. Do you remember the name of that venue that we went and saw him at?
Wasn't that Code Red or something?
Some shit. It was something like that. But that was a badass venue, dude, in Arizona. I don't even think that they're open anymore after the whole COVID debacle.
No, I doubt it. But yeah, it was a great fucking show.
It was a great fucking show, dude. And hats off to Destroyer 666 because they brought it that fucking night too. But yeah, just wanted to touch on that. That looking forward to covering their Watain's last album here on the podcast as well. Something to look forward to. It's kind of bittersweet that they're going away too, but I guess it's better to go out on top than to fucking get everything taken away from you. You know what I'm saying?
Damn right.
But moving on from that over to another bit of recent news, and then we'll get into the episode of today. Dude, Megadeth, Tipping Point, brand new fucking Megadeth single they released off their upcoming new record. Wow, is all I can say, brother.
Man, they came out fucking swinging one final first single from their final album. I mean, like, This song did not stop. It was definitely name appropriate tipping point because it came out fucking with a banger, bro, and makes me very very excited for the rest of the album. And Mustaine still has it, man. He's in the video. He's fucking running. He's fucking old ass running, but he still got it. He can still play.
I was gonna say too, dude. It's like there's no way after listening to that first single that this man is damn near 70 years old, and that this dude is ready to fucking retire, dude. The way he punched us all in the fucking throat with this song,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? Like his farewell, his goodbye to his fans, and they come out with a banger of a fucking single of Tipping Point, dude. It's just like, man, you got more in you, brother. At least give us one more.
At least go for another decade, huh?
Yeah, that would be asking a little too much, but I mean, hey, fuck it, we're greedy. But but yeah, man, I can't wait for the rest of that record. I can't wait for the fucking world tour. I can't wait to see him one more time, dude, and bid my farewell to our favorite band of all
Yeah.
fucking time, Megadeth, dude. But yeah, if you haven't yet already, please do yourself a favor and go check out Megadeth's Tipping Point, brand new single off the brand new record. It leaves you something wanting more, dude. The fucking drums were killer. The guitars were killer. The fucking vocals of Dave Mustaine sounds aggressive and pissed off. It's
Yep.
everything you want in fucking Megadeth, dude.
It is, and more.
And more. Very well said. All right. So, with that being said, the topic of today's episode, kind of teased it a little bit earlier. 2 debut albums from 2 legendary symphonic black metal bands. Of course, we are talking about DIMMU BORGIR and Cradle of Filth, one from Norway, one from England. And today we're going to break down each of their respective debut albums. I'm going to go a little bit of a track by track breakdown and then kind of pick and choose our favorite songs off of both records. And then ultimately, who ended up having the better debut between the 2 bands and who had the better artwork as well. Kind of like similar to what we did with the Nirvana and Alice in Chains episode. That one was a banger of an episode. I appreciate all of you out there who tuned into that. It was one of our highest watched videos that we put out yet in the infancy of this podcast, and I appreciate each and every one of you for doing that. So let's start off with DIMMU, Willie. For All Tid came out in March 15th of 1995. A little bit of news and notes on this album. I was not today, but yesterday years old when I went back and re-listened to this record, that I realized that it was fucking Silent Oz on vocals and Shagrath on drums, brother. What the fuck?
Oh shit! It was today that I found that out. Oh man, I didn't even
I
catch
mean,
that.
Shagrath did a hell of a job on the fucking drums, dude. Silent Oz, I think he's a better guitarist than he is a fucking vocalist.
Yeah, damn, that's very interesting. I did not catch that. Thanks for bringing that to my attention.
Yeah, you got to do a little bit of a background on these records, man, especially going back, so far with these guys, because as of course with a lot of these bands, they have a lot of, lineup changes. A lot of people come and go. A lot of the guys stay within the band, but end up swapping positions, such as Silent Oz and Shagrath did on this one.
Yeah.
But we'll get into like our overall feeling of each album at the end of it. I just want to get into the breakdown of the record. First off, we got track number 1. I am not going to attempt to try to say these songs in fucking Norwegian, okay? So we're going to do the English, okay? So track number 1, we have The New Kingdom. Willie, is this a way to start off a record or what?
Yeah, this is a classic Norwegian black metal riff that started off this fucking album. Great opener. This song definitely tells you what this album is going to be about. And yeah, I don't think I could pick a better song on this album to be the opener.
We got track 2, Under the Wings of the Raven, coming in at 5 minutes and 59 seconds. This one was just kind of here for me. I don't know what your opinion is on this one.
Shit. You know what? I think oh no, I'm right. Yeah. This one was the same. Yeah, I feel the same about you. This one was it was a 6-minute song, and it came in, came out. It was nothing special, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad song at all.
Track 3, we have Over Pale Horizons Unto Judgment Day. We got a fucking whole ass book on the fucking song titles here. This one again for me was kind of, hit or miss. I could have, took it or leave it. It wasn't anything special that stood out to me. What you say, you?
Yeah, I actually love the melody of the song. I'm a sucker for fucking melodies just like this one, and it really stood out to me. very atmospheric. This song was, like many of their songs, but the song in particular was more so atmospheric for me.
I think this whole album was atmospheric. And you know what? I will say on this album, the keyboards fucking killed it for me, dude, because it was
Mm,
so generic. It was so plain. There was no like substance to it. It was almost as if it was what it was meant to be background noise, but background noise in a bad way,
yeah,
in my opinion. It's like it didn't bring anything to the table to add any sort of, anything better to the
yeah.
songs. I think it just made it like more drown out and longer than it
Hmm.
should be, if that makes sense.
Interesting. Interesting.
Um,
Okay.
Track 4, we have The Path. Um, Again, this one kind of blends into track 3 with me, dude. It's good, but it's not memorable.
Got it. I actually love this fucking song. This song isn't black metal. This song is folk metal or Viking metal. Has that
Yeah.
fucking that flute that fucking comes in all of a
Hmm.
sudden. That flute's fucking badass, and it's a 2 minute song, and it was perfect for. It wasn't like an interlude, but it was. But yeah, this was a completely different song for them because it was way more folk or Viking than black.
Yeah, I agree with that statement as well. We have track 5, which is Glitterton. Um, this one wasn't too bad. I went into this album blind because it's been forever since I heard this album track by track, right? It's been forever. So a
Yeah,
lot of these songs were kind of like, rediscovering all over again. And track 5 wasn't, I wasn't expecting anything when I went in to listen to it. And I came away from listening to this song like, this actually wasn't too bad. For a song that
yeah,
has glitter in the fucking title, it wasn't too
right.
bad.
Yeah, this is definitely a symphonic black metal song, 100%.
Yes.
But it was also backed by a great riff. The riff
Yeah.
in this song definitely played well with all the other sounds and instruments, and it was almost thrashy in a way. It had like a little thrashy
Yeah.
groove to it,
It
which
was.
I was not expecting. But yeah, great fucking song.
Track 6, we have the title track of the album, For All Tid, which translates to For All Time. I think if there's one song on this record that everybody knows, it's this one. Um, it's a really good song. It's a classic song from them. Um, it's funny when you go and listen to this record raw from when it was first released to the reissue that they put out, which was a little bit more cleaned up. The song, definitely sounds a little bit different. But going back to the original pressing of this album and the original release, you can tell that throughout the entire album, the guitar and drums on most of these songs are kind of like drowned out like typical black metal production was, especially back then. They
Yeah,
wanted to make it sound as raw as possible, and I get it,
right.
but at the same time too, it kind of annoys me because it's like you
Yeah,
want to be heard. You want your instruments to be heard. I'm always a sucker for good production, not overly produced, but good
right,
production. And this album was all over the place. There's a couple of songs like the drums were more pronounced than the guitars were more pronounced than the drums. Some of the vocals were kind of fading in and out. But For All Tid, For All Time, the title track of this album, it was a really good fucking song.
yeah. It's a great fucking song. The opening with the uh guitar was sweet. It was kind of a slower opening, but then it kind of lead into the main part of the fucking song, which is fucking sick. Um, Definitely a symphonic melody. That melody was fucking sick in this song too. And like you said, this is definitely a song that most people would know. And if you don't know it, it's definitely one of the songs you need to go back and listen to.
What do you think of Silent Oz's vocals in this album? Now that you were kind of like stunned that it wasn't Shagrath, it was
Hmm.
Silent Oz. What do you think of his vocal display of this record?
I actually love it.
Do you?
I'm a really big fan of his vocals, and I didn't even know it wasn't fucking Sargaroth. I was no idea, but yeah, his vocals fucking it did it for me. I liked it.
Yeah, for me, I'm
Yep.
kind of iffy. There was some songs, some parts where I was like, okay, and there was other ones where it's like, you're trying to be too much like fucking Dark Throne. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, I can see that.
there's only one Dark Throne. You don't need to copy it. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? Now, granted, they're all fucking friends, right? All of them are
Yeah.
fucking friends. They all know each other.
Right.
So it's not like they were like trying to steal from each other or anything like that. A lot of them collaborated on earlier records, like fucking Immortal came out of Old Funeral, with some
Right.
other guys too. So it's like they all, were in the same inner circle together.
Yep.
But yeah, I took away a lot from his vocals on this. It was like too much of like a Dark Throne type of
Yeah.
feel to it.
That makes sense.
But track 7, Another fucking book title for a fucking song. We have the Hunix King's Sorrow Black Journey Across the Steppes, or steeps, or steppes,
Steeps.
or steepies.
Steppace? Hell yeah, bro.
For this one, on my notes for this song, dude, I got not bad. It was good, it was decent, but it wasn't bad.
No, yeah, it was the opening was a very thrashy ass opening, which I dug.
Yeah,
Um with the riffs and the drums. And then that guitar part around the minute 2 was actually a pretty good fucking riff. It kind of takes you in a different journey, even though it's only a 3-minute song. The second half of the song seems to take a little bit of a change, which was nice. I like that.
yeah, agreed. We have track number 8. Oh god, let's see if I can't say this one. We have Rob Bjorn reflects the mist of Drawheimer. Hyman. Fuck
Yep.
it, we're gonna go with it. Coming in at 501. Spoiler alert: this was my favorite song on this record. This one and For All Tid was my top 1A and 1B.
Okay.
I really loved uh, the structure of the song. A lot of it sounded repetitive, though. You know, I went back and listened to it a second time, and it is like on the second listen, it's a lot more repetitive. You know, some of
Hmm.
the riffage and some of the nuance to it. But
Yeah.
the fucking guitar, dude, is like haunting as fuck in this
Yeah.
song. It's got a really good riff to it, a really good vibe to it, bro. I really dug the fuck out of the song.
Yeah, I definitely wrote that down too. I wrote down it was the great black metal riff. The riff in this song I think stood out more than any other riffs on this album.
I agree.
Um, and this song was a constant atmospheric feel from start to end too. They really didn't shy away from that, making you kind of feel the attitude of this fucking song. And yeah, it was just a rounded song. Great song.
Track 9, we have The Ruler of the Hidden Truth. Uh, for me, bro, the first song was an instrumental. Did not like it. This song as a closer, did not like it. I think those are the two downfalls of this record. Is the opening track and the closing track, in my
Mm,
opinion, were not great whatsoever in this album.
yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I put down for this fucking song. It was slow. It was a very 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 fucking slow song,
Yes, it
and
was.
it was a slow and long song. Definitely feel you that this should not have been the closer. I think track number 8 should have been the closer.
Yes,
But yeah, the song did not do much for me either.
I understand that. You know, kind of a concept album without being a concept album. Like this album told a story. I get
Yeah,
that, you know, especially when you have, you know, the instrumental parts of this album, and you have a lot
yeah,
of the keyboards, the atmosphere, you know, atmospheric black metal. I get all that, but For All Tid should have been the opener. Track 8 should have been the closer. You want to start off with the bang and end with the bang. This one for me was a miss as far as the opening and closing songs go. We all know, if you're a regular here on this episode of this podcast, you know that I'm a stickler for a good opener and a good closer.
yep.
This one just didn't do it for me as far as an opening and a closing goes. But all in all, it was an okay. I wouldn't say it was a great, but it was a decent, okay debut album from the Norwegian Symphonic Kings of Black Metal, DIMMU Borgir. What do you say?
I agree. My favorite song on this album is the Glitterton. Actually,
Really?
I love that fucking song. I went back and listened to that song at least like 3 or 4 fucking times. And then my least favorite is the closing track 9. Too slow, too long. Shouldn't have been the closer. Um, but overall, I actually really dig this fucking album a lot. Actually, I I love melodic metal, and this one definitely served this point for me. Um, but yeah, I didn't feel like it was a boring or a dull album to get through. I enjoyed it.
I like me some Demu, man. I'm a big Demu fan. I like their later works that they came out with, especially when they had Mustes come in and join the band on keyboards, and then you had Vortex come in on the bass and backing vocals. Um, I am a stickler for melodic black metal as well. I also like me some aggressive black metal. Not one. My only knock on black metal in general is too many of the songs from too many of the bands are the same shit. Kind of like how we were talking about power metal before with me. It's like
Yep.
it's the same blast beats. It's the same
Yep.
shit. You know what I mean? It's like break it up and do something a little bit different. There's a point in time for blast beats nonstop. There's also a point in time for the melodic style too. Case in point, Uwada. I fucking love Uwada, and I think they bring that balance of both melodic and fucking in your face blast beats. You know what I mean? I think they do
Yes.
a really good job of mixing those two together. But yeah, as a debut album for me on this one, favorite real quick again is track number 8. My least favorite is the opening track because it was a fucking boring ass fucking instrumental and all you heard was fucking keyboards, and I just did not like that fucking song whatsoever.
Yeah.
So those are mine on this record as well. Any other closing comments on this album, Willie, before we move over to Cradle?
Yeah, I just want to mention the bonus tracks on the 97 release, track 10 and 11 that's on there, part 1 and part 2. I think those are very underrated songs, and if you haven't listened to those, you definitely got to listen to it. Track 10, the part 1, is definitely a atmospheric fucking symphonic fucking takes you on a fucking journey, and then part 2 is just right in your face. They fucking close out. So I think they should have added 10 and 11 on the actual 95 up time, because it would have made a much better album.
I agree. With what you said there too. I didn't include those songs because they weren't in the original album, but I totally agree with what you just said on that. Um, but yeah, that was Demu. And now, before we move over to Cradle, let me just say once again, folks, we are on YouTube, we are on X, we are on Instagram, we are on Spotify. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever. Please let us know that you're here, that you're tuning in, that you're listening. And if you have any other suggestions out there, on an upcoming episode of a debut album, who versus who, if you want to talk about a particular band, a particular album, hit us up and let us know. We're always up for different ideas and whatnot. And with that being said, Willie, we're going to move over to Cradle of Filth, their debut album, which was released on February 24th, 1994. Of course, we are talking about The Principle of Evil Made Flesh, the legendary Danny Filth, the frontman of Cradle of Filth, and his band with their debut album. We're going to do a track by track breakdown on this one as well. I will say right off the bat that Paul Allender, who did guitars on this record, he left after this record and he didn't come back until their 5th album, Midian. I think Paul is my favorite Cradle guitarist.
Mm.
The albums that came out after this one, in between when he returned to Midian, were good, don't get me wrong, but there was just something about Paul's playing in Cradle of Filth that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
He's been on record saying that he doesn't do anything by scale. He doesn't do anything by any sort of a structure. He just, whatever he feels, he puts out. And I respect the fuck out of that because it gives you that rawness. It gives you that feel of a musician, that feel of a guitarist. Whatever he's feeling, he's gonna fucking put it out there and let's get it. Let's do it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And then you have Nick Barker on drums as well. Legendary fucking drummer. After he did Cradle of Filth, he went on and did bands like DIMMU BORGIR. He did fucking Breweria. I mean, he's been around the fucking block. Nick Barker, fucking phenomenal fucking British drummer, dude. I really enjoy the shit that he's done over the years with a lot of these different bands, dude. And with that being said, let's get right into it, dude. We've got track number 1, just the same as we did with Demu. We have a fucking instrumental as a fucking opener. We have Jugular Wedding, Darkness Our Bride. What do you think, Willie?
It was a opener. Nothing special. It just gave you the feel of what the album was going to be.
Agreed. Track number 2. I think this one and one other song that we're going to get into later on in the record are probably the two best known songs from this record that Cradle of Filth fans and any symphonic black metal or extreme black metal fans would know. The Principle of Evil Made Flesh, the title track to the record. Classic fucking song. The solo in this song is fucking amazing. Again, talking about Paul Allender on fucking guitar, dude.
Yep.
I really enjoyed this track, and all these years later, it still stands out as a really good fucking track.
Yeah, this was a great opener too. Besides, of course, the instrumental, but this
Yeah.
album was a great opener. It was fast, melodic. There was no fillers either. There was no like breakdown. There's no fillers. There's nothing going up and down, up and down. We didn't need all that fucking shit in the song, and they didn't give us that. Thank God. But yeah, this song I think was a very, very, very well made fucking song.
Another piece of my notes here that I have is, of course, this is very early Cradle of Filth, but just the way how Danny Phil's vocals were so much different in
Mm-hmm.
this record as opposed to later on Cradle releases. I think he found his footing a little bit later on as far as like his range goes, his tempo, how he wants to like sound, because he does all the voices just like Len Benton and Deicide. He does all
Yeah.
the voices in fucking Cradle of Filth. You know, all the vocals. It's all him.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see when this record was released of like the progression of Danny Phil's vocals from this album to some of the later ones, you know, like Midian, you know,
Yeah.
Cruelty and the Beast, you know, all those. It's like it's really interesting and fascinating to go back and listen to these earlier releases and see where these guys started and then how they kind of progress from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's funny that you said that because you know, I'm actually not a big fan of his vocals at all. There's some songs where I like it, but most of the songs, dude, it's kind of it's too much for me. His vocals are too much for me, and it's funny that you said it because I think I could tolerate his vocals more in this album than I could in his later albums.
I respect that. I like there's a period of Cradle of Filth for me that is really good, and that's from right after this record was put out all the way up until about 2002 ish, 2003 ish. After that, Cradle started to lose it for me a little bit. But Cruelty, Midian, this album from the Cradle to Enslave, I mean, all those, dude, it's just like it was prime fucking Cradle, dude. And at the same time that was prime Cradle, you had prime DIMMU releasing all their albums in that same time period too. And I think that's where a lot of the fans of this genre of black metal kind of put, you know, Cradle versus DIMMU, because at the same time they're both putting out records in around the same time period. They're both symphonic in their own different ways. Cradle being more gothic, more romantic, you know what I mean? DIMMU being more of the lore side, you know, more on like the fire and, you know, the fucking Lord of the Rings type of shit, you know what I'm saying? So two different bands, but then the same genre of that black metal. And I appreciate Danny Phil's vocals a lot more in this time period because I can respect it as a former vocalist myself. I can respect somebody who has a range from a guttural growl to those high pitching screams, but it makes sense in the style of the music that this band is trying to present, like
Yeah.
that gothic, romantic, fucking
Right.
Dracula esque, you know, atmosphere. I
Yeah.
get where he's coming from with that, and I respect that. But I also get where you're coming from too, because there are times too where it's just like, Danny, shut the fuck up, you
Yeah, bro.
know. But with that being said, though, moving on to track number 3, we have The Forest Whispers My Name. Before I get my take, Willie, what do you say on the song?
Yeah, in my notes here, you know, the main riff was almost like a black and thrash riff,
Yes.
which was different, and I think it goes along what you said earlier with Paul and his the way that
Yeah.
he plays. I feel like this song was a lot different than most of the songs on this album, just because of that main riff.
In my notes here, I have the song is decent, but the fucking keyboards reminded me of that I was fucking playing a Zelda game.
Oh, okay, okay,
It was a little too cheesy, a little too NES, SNES sounding, you know, maybe
yeah,
Sega Genesis, you know.
yeah,
Um, the keyboards kind of took it away from me on this record. I could have done without them. I think if the keyboards were out of this song, it would have been a completely different song for the better, in my opinion.
mm,
The keyboards really took me out of it. But with that being said, though, it was a decent track. It wasn't anything that I would take home and like go and re-listen to. But oh
yeah,
my god, you know, I missed this on the first listen. I think that it was a decent track, but nothing spectacular.
yeah.
We have track number 4, Iscariot, which is another instrumental. Um, I was annoyed by this instrumental, dude. I really was.
Yeah, most of the instrumentals on this album are pretty fucking similar. But yeah, it didn't really do much for me either.
Moving on, we got track number 5, The Black Goddess Rises. In my notes here, brother, I have this song surprised me. It was
Hmm,
almost like an anthem esque type
it
of
was.
song, but at the same time, too, it was just decent. It wasn't great, it was decent, but it did surprise me of how well I would like this song.
Yeah, in my notes, man, I got when that cello hits, bro, that's when the
Yeah,
song fucking happens, is when that cello
yep.
hits. If it wasn't for that cello, I think the song would kind of be forgotten about. Because then that cello hits and then it kind of leads up to the fast playing again, and then the cello kind of like goes away. But yeah, that's what I had.
Track number 6, we have another fucking instrumental. We have One Final Graven Kiss. Willie, I have one word to describe this song in my notes, and that was boring.
Yeah, I don't even remember this one, so
So it was boring for you too.
yeah.
Before we move on to track 7, though, I gotta say another note on this album, and I would be beaten up, and I would beat up myself if I didn't say it because I talked so much shit about it on the Blind Guardian episode that we did. The fucking voiceover, the narration on this album annoyed the fuck out of me. It took
Yes.
away too much. On later Cradle albums, there is a narration, but it's not a narration that takes away from the song. It's kind of like embedded, woven into the song to take you on that journey. It doesn't just stop everything, give you a narration, and then go back into a song like Blind Guardian did.
Right.
This album fucking did it too as well for me, and I was just like, God damn it, shut the
Yep.
fuck up
Yep.
with the narration. Your
Yeah.
thoughts?
My notes on this, I only had one sentence: "Lost in the shuffle" for me. That's what I had put down. So it probably wasn't that much for me. So we can move on, I guess.
Track number 7, we have a crescendo of passion bleeding. Um, I'm not quite sure what that title would like suggest that the song is. The only notes that I have from this one is again the narration pissed me off in the song, and the fucking guitars in the background, like the background, not the lead, but the background guitar, off in the distance was fucking incredible. I thought it really brought a
Yeah.
different element to this song. I enjoyed the fuck out of it for that. I think that was the only saving grace for this song for me was that background guitar.
Which song are you talking about? Because I think you said the same song.
Track 7, a crescendo of passion bleeding.
Didn't we just talk about that?
Nope, the one that we were doing was the One Final Graven Kiss, the instrumental, and then we went on to talk about the narration.
Oh, well, my comments was about number 7. This one got lost in the shuffle for me.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, if you were to go back and listen to it, try to pay attention to just the background guitars in the song, because again, for me, this was the only saving grace for the song was the
Yeah,
background guitar.
that makes sense.
So if you were, not saying you should, but if you were to go and listen to the song again, just try to keep an ear out for that background guitar.
Gotcha.
Track 8, To Eve, the Art of Witchcraft. Willie, before I give my thoughts, what do you say on this one? Track 8.
Just from you saying that, we're not going to have the same opinion on this song.
You might be surprised.
Okay. I said this is the best vocals on the album for me. It didn't annoy me so much, I guess. And it made sense better for me in the song how his vocals were. And then the second part of the song, when it kind of goes off and it's like dun 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 dun,
Yep.
dun, fucking brilliant. I love this
Yep.
fucking song.
So my notes that I have on this that I took away is one, Danny's scream in this song was fucking classic fucking Danny Filth, dude.
Yeah.
Classic Danny Filth. The keyboards were different in this song than they were in any other song, and the keyboards stood out in a good way, not a bad way, stood out in a good way. And then again, for me, the guitar in this song was fucking incredible. So we are similar on that same wavelength of thinking on this song too. I think this was a banger of a fucking song.
It was.
I think it's a very underrated song. If you haven't already out there listened to Eve, the Art of Witchcraft, please do yourself a favor and check this song out because it is a really good fucking song.
Damn right.
Let's see. We have Of Mist and Midnight Skies. This song was way too fucking long, dude. Way too fucking long.
Yeah, slow start, picks up in the second half, then slow ending, and exactly what I put down. Long song. Yep.
Other notes that I have on this song too is there was some good points, but it was just okay, and it was just way too fucking long. Songs 10 and 11, I'm not going to get into because again, instrumental bullshit, more filler bullshit, more narration bullshit. That it's just like fucking A. Can we just stop already?
Yep.
The last track, Summer Dying Fast. I know there's one more too. It's a hidden track. We're not going to cover that because it was only 49 seconds. But
yeah,
Summer Dying Fast. again, just like the principle, Evil May Flesh, everybody knows this fucking song. If you're a Cradle of Filth fan, you know this song. This was my favorite song on the fucking record. This song still holds up to this day, just like the principle of Evil May Flesh and just like DIMMU's For All Tid. This song still is a fucking banger today listening to it. Love this song. Willie, what say you?
Yeah, it's a classic Cradle song. Badass black metal riff in this fucking song. The slower parts in the middle picks back up. The second half of the song is the best part. I think is groovy and it's atmospheric for a Cradle. It's not so much like fucking bang bang bang. It was a groovy fucking ending. I like it. It's a great song.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree too. In my notes here for the song, classic Danny Filth, classic screams. You kind of hear where Danny's going to progress to in later albums and his vocals. The guitars were fucking amazing in this fucking song. And I did say that it was my favorite track on the record. That is true, but it's also not true because there's a 1A and a 1B. We're going to get into that one in just a second. But before we get into our favorites and not favorite songs on this record, really just an overall takeaway from the Principle of Evil Made Flesh.
Overall, I thought it was a pretty good debut. There was quite a handful of songs that I did not care for at all, but there was a couple songs that surprised me how well I liked it. And this was actually the first time I think I've listened to track by track of this album. But yeah, it was a fun time.
For me, I would say that this was a good debut album from Cradle. It could have been better. Again, enough of the fucking narration, too many fucking instrumentals.
Yes.
The keyboards, just like in DIMMU, the keyboards kind of took away a lot from some of the songs. There was too many of them, and we could do without. If you can find a way to move them in, just like you did on track 8 that we were talking about with To Eve, the Art of Witchcraft. If you could find a way to weave that guitar or the keyboard sound into the song without taking it away or making it sound like shit, I'm all for. But overall, I would say this was a 50-50 album for me, just the same that I could say a 50-50 album that DIMMU did for me.
Yep.
Favorite track on the album, Willie?
Favorite track has to be To Eve, the Art of Witchcraft.
I actually agree with you. And as a matter of fact, on my notes here, I know it's kind of hard to see, but I have a star right there on track 8 and then a star down here on the final track.
Yeah.
Because they are a 1A on a 1B for me. If I had to pick between To Eve, the Art of Witchcraft, and Summer Dying Fast, I think I might have to pick To Eve, the Art of Witchcraft as well.
Yeah.
But both classic fucking songs, both were bangers. Really good fucking debut album. Least favorite song?
The fucking long ass 8-minute song.
I think I would throw that in there as well. I'm not going to talk shit on any of the instrumentals because they were all bad. But I will say too that it was too long of a song, and it's just there wasn't enough to keep me going. I don't mind like Uwada again, going back to Uwada. Some of their songs, especially on their debut record, were long as fuck, but they kept it fucking rolling. They kept you like on this roller coaster of a ride. This one here was just like a long song to be a long song.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So that's Cradle, that's DIMMU. Willie, in your opinion, big question of the night: who had the better debut album, Cradle of Filth with the Principle Evil Made Flesh, or DIMMU BORGIR For All Tid?
I'm picking DIMMU.
Okay. I kind of figured that you would. And I am going to be the other guy, and I'm going to pick Cradle.
Cool,
was
man.
my pick for the debut.
Reason
why DIMMU over Cradle?
It was more of a atmospheric Viking folk black type of album for me, and that's my shit. And it felt more like it was down my lane than Cradle's album.
Okay. The reason why I picked Cradle over DIMMU is because again, I like both bands a lot. I dug both bands' debut albums. For me, I kind of saw where Cradle was coming out right off the bat with. With DIMMU, it was okay. We have Silent Oz on vocals and guitar. We have Shagrath on drums, and then coming up in an album or two, we're going to switch it up and we're going to have Shagrath on vocals, which I prefer Shagrath on vocals as opposed to Silent Oz. But with DIMMU's debut album, it was just too generic for me. It was too, especially at that time period, because you had already that first run, right, of Norwegian black metal. You had the Mayhems, you had the Burzums, you had all those guys, right?
Yeah.
and then you had like kind of like the transition into the new wave. You had the Immortals, the Mardukes, the fucking Dark Funerals, you know what I mean? And then here comes DIMMU later on down the line too. I think with all those, you had already Satyricon, you already had Dark Throne. So I think DIMMU coming out the gate with this album was very lackluster
Mm,
compared to some of the other bands that were going on at that time.
right.
Whereas Cradle put this album out in 1994, and if we're going to talk about English black metal, there really wasn't as many English black metal bands
No.
as there was Norwegian or Swedish at that time.
Yeah.
I think the biggest band that you could probably compare them to was probably Bathory,
Right.
in this time period. Maybe Venom, maybe, but they were more of like a thrashy kind of,
Yeah.
band with like a black metal name to them, but they weren't black metal. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think it was a stronger debut from Cradle, in my opinion, in that aspect. But both really good debut albums. But excuse me, fuck. But for me, Cradle had the just a little bit of a better debut than DIMMU did. Uh,
Yeah.
fuck you, Willie. Okay, let's talk about album covers.
Okay, wait, hold on. I want to kind of go back what you said about fucking DMU. They kind of were, all these black metal bands have already come out and kind of, paved their way for the style that should be. But I want to give credit to DMU as saying maybe that's not what they wanted to fucking do. They wanted to branch out from what everyone else was doing and have their own sound. Because for me, it didn't sound like black metal at all, like
Yeah, there was elements
at
to it, but
all.
yeah.
Yeah, it sounded completely different, and I don't know if that was the way that they wanted it to be. It was like, okay, well, all these bands are sounding the fucking same now. Let's do something completely fucking different, and they did. Which, if that wasn't their, if they were trying to sound the same, then they fucking failed, right? But
and
they,
and the same thing could be said too about Cradle as well, because
yeah,
again, going back to how there wasn't as many, and I'm not saying there wasn't, but as many British black metal bands as there was the Norwegian black metal scene. But
yeah,
Principle of Evil Made Flesh was not your typical black metal album by any stretch. Were there
no, it
black metal
wasn't.
themes and elements in it? Sure, there was, just like there was in DIMMU's. Was it
Yep,
a classic black metal album, like structurally? No, it was
no,
not. So that's what makes both of
no,
these albums so
different.
different, you know what I
Yep,
mean? But yet so like, who had the better debut? Because like you could
right.
break them down like we did track by track, but at the same token too, it's like they're not your traditional black metal bands either,
Yep, I agree,
which makes it
100%,
interesting.
100%. I love it.
All right, who had the better album cover?
I mean, this one's pretty easy. Cradle had the better album cover.
You know what? I actually picked fucking DIMMU's album
Did you?
cover. Yeah, and the reason why I picked it is because it was actually a hand drawn
Okay.
portrait of like this fucking going off in this medieval fucking journey. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But the great thing I loved about both of these fucking album covers is you just look at the album cover and the songs that were on
Mm-hmm.
those albums describe what's on that album cover, and
Yes,
you don't always
exactly.
get that.
No, no. If you were gonna tell me that the album cover that was not black and white with Demu, that was like purple and orange, that one, if you would say either that one or Cradle, I would have picked Demu. But the black and white, it was a little bit hard to see all the fucking details. I think the one with the more colors was the better album cover.
I think it's going to be interesting to see, especially because I mean, I'm sure this is not the last time we're ever going to cover Cradle and DIMMU on this podcast,
Yeah,
but it'll be interesting to see, the progression of both bands and how they gotten better and how they kind of tightened the ship up a little bit.
right.
Because both bands are legendary. Both bands I hold in high regard. Still to this day, just what they were accomplishing and being trailblazers of bands in their respective genres and in two different parts, in England and fucking Scandinavia, but both really fucking legendary fucking bands. Both came out with strong debut albums, and I mean, yeah, dude. If it wasn't for Cradle and DIMMU, I don't think symphonic black metal would be as popular as
No,
it turned out to be without these two bands.
nope, not at all. They definitely continue. I like bands that start with a theme and they continue it instead of fucking changing it up. And they continued. They still continued it.
And both bands are still going strong today. I know DIMMU is putting the finishing touches on a brand new record, and they're talking about doing a proper full blown tour. That's Silent Oz's words too. A proper full blown tour of the United States next year. So fingers crossed that they come to your neck of the woods, wherever you happen to be watching or listening to this podcast. Cradle of Filth just put out a brand new record about a year and a half ago or so. It was decent. Cradle of Filth has kind of fallen off the path for me in the last few records that they put out. Nothing's really stood out to me. They
Yeah.
changed. I won't say they changed their sound a lot, but it's just more of the same when it comes to Cradle. And the same thing goes for DIMMU too. Their last album they put out, what was it, 2018? That Yonin or however you fucking say that
Yeah.
album. It just fell flat for me. It wasn't a needle mover for me. But
No.
again, they're both really strong bands. I would go to see them whenever they came to town. And if you haven't seen DIMMU or if you haven't seen Cradle of Filth live, please do yourself a favor and go and support these legendary symphonic black metal bands. But with that being said, Willie, anything else you want to add to this episode?
How much shit you think I'm gonna get for not liking Danny's vocals?
Um, I don't think you're gonna get as much shit as you think you're gonna get.
No.
No, I don't think so because same thing could be same for Dave Mustaine. And the wife and I were having this conversation a couple days ago. What the fuck made Metallica much more popular than Megadeth? And right off the bat, she said Dave Mustaine's vocals. It's
Yep.
either take it or leave it. You know,
Yep.
James on Metallica has a much more acceptable voice. You know, a much more easy listening to voice.
Yes.
Whereas Dave's, and just like Axl Rose, he was the same way too. It's an acquired taste.
Right.
So I don't think you're going to get as much shit as you think you're going to get.
Okay. Okay. That's all I had to add, man.
But I will say, though, that I am a big fan of Danny Phil's vocals. So there's just that. But yeah, with that being
Cool.
said, ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you thought below. Comment, like, subscribe, share. Did we get it wrong? Did we get it right? What did we hit? What did we miss? Please let us know in the comments. Cradle of Filth, DIMMU BORGIR, who had the better debut album? You out there, you let us know. X, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, all the usual channels. Please do us a favor and show your support and love for this podcast. It's much appreciated by both Willie and I. And with that being said, Willie, I think it was another banger of an episode.
Damn right. Can't wait for next one.
Yes, sir. And to all you out there who's listening and watching to us out there, we appreciate you and stay heavy. Until next time, fucking A.
Peace out.